Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming to watch this video. If you love Jolly Ranchers, this is the video to watch. I'm gonna make Jolly Rancher push pops. These things are huge and I'm gonna fill them up with Jolly Ranchers. I'm gonna make one with the classic hard candy Jolly Rancher, and then I'm also gonna make one with the Jolly Rancher chews. So these push pops we purchased off of Amazon, and I love the heart shape and I love the size of them. And you see the bag in the back, I think there's about 20 in there, and we actually got 2 of those, so it was a pretty good deal and we're very happy with them, so we thought we'd fill them up with Jolly Ranchers. So here are the Jolly Rancher chews. And it's actually interesting because they have 4 flavors instead of the classic Jolly Rancher hard candy, which was 5 flavors. So you still have your delicious green apple, yay, and your blue raspberry. And then here you have your watermelon, which is also a delicious, delicious flavor. And then the other flavor here, which is new to me anyways, is the strawberry kiwi. And so in your hard candies, you don't have strawberry kiwi, you have cherry and grape. So let's open this bag up. Check out these yummy hard candies. There we go, we got cherry, we got grape, we got green apple, watermelon, and the last one is the blue one, which is blue raspberry. So one of the most important things that you're going to do whenever you're prepping something involving these candies, whether it's EOS or push pops or whatever, chapstick containers, you want to make sure that you coat it with some oil, as it's going to come out way easier. Sometimes it doesn't even come out at all. I did an EOS once with gummy bears. I didn't put it in the video, but I did try it without oil and it just sticks like crazy. So make sure that you take apart all the pieces, put lots of oil in there, the more the better actually, because then you know for sure that every spot is coated. And in this case, I'm going to put the little holder thing back in the case after I've sprayed it really good, and I do the inside of it and the outside so that when you push it, it doesn't get stuck either. Okay, you guys, so now we're ready to melt some Jolly Ranchers and make a serious push pop. This is probably going to be the biggest push pop that maybe you've ever seen with Jolly Ranchers. So here we go. You're going to grab a microwavable safe container, and I like this one because it has a handle, because sometimes the bowl can get hot. So I'm going to start off with cherry. So cherry is going to be my base color. I think I used about 10 of these. I mean, it's up to you guys, obviously, depending on the size of your push pop. And for all of those people out there that are concerned about my bowls getting Jolly Ranchers stuck on them, they end up being fine. So the candy does harden quite quickly, as you'll see. So you want to make sure, even if you leave it out, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you let it sit under hot water. So I usually let the water run, so it has a little bit of pressure on the bowl. And then if you let it sit with the hot water, it ends up being totally fine. So you're going to microwave for 15 seconds at a time, and it takes about 40 seconds in total, so 15, 15, 10, 5, 10-ish. And then very, very, very carefully, you're going to pour it into your push pop. Now, I didn't realize at the time that the stem at the bottom actually comes off, so right now I'm just holding it, but eventually throughout the video, I do take that off and just put it on the table. So very carefully, I just sort of grab the candy there. You can see it's already cooling off. Okay, and you want to make sure it's level, and then in between each color you put it in the fridge or freezer. If you put it in the freezer, make sure that you keep an eye on it, as it will crack. So fridge is good too if you just want to wait a little bit longer. So here we have delicious green apple, same thing. Put in about 10 candies. There we go. There's the delicious cherry hard, and the push pop is working really good. So we're just gonna melt this green and we're gonna put it up over top. Make sure that you guys are really careful with this, as melting candies, it's really, really, really hot. Okay, so you wanna make sure that you do this with a parent around, and make sure again that you guys have a microwavable dish so that you don't burn your little hands. So there we go, finishing off the green. So we'll put this back in the freezer, and it actually fits perfectly in between those little metal bits to balance it. And then you're good to go. So here we go, moving on to blue raspberry. That looks so delicious, shiny and yummy, and everything about it is just so good. So I have about 8 there. Again, this is the version after it's been cooled off. You can see that the plastic's a little bit foggy. I use the freezer in this case, and just make sure you don't keep it in too long because it will crack. So here we go. Yum, that looks so good. So the blue all melted. And you want to make sure that you guys don't boil the candy because it actually seeps up. Like it, obviously when you boil it, it gets bigger, so it goes up on the sides, and then it might get stuck on the sides too. And you can see here it's hardening as I'm pouring it in. So I'm just going to scrape it out a little bit. You don't want to touch it with your fingers as it is very hot. So just again, be careful with that. So once you're done the blue, you put this back in the fridge or freezer, and then you're good to go. And we'll move on to the next flavor. Okay, so this is what it looks after it's hardened, and doesn't this look amazing? So delicious, so many Jolly Ranchers. This will probably last you a long, long time, but that's the best part, is that it's so good and so big. So moving on to the next flavor, which is going to be delicious grape. Okay, so once you have your candies all wrapped, put that in the microwave again for 15 seconds, check it, 15 some more, check it again, and maybe not even 15, but I used 15, 15, and then did it maybe for another 5, and I usually stir it in between. Okay, and remember not to let it boil as the candy seeps up on the bowl and then it really gets stuck. If it does boil, just make sure you guys stir it until there are no more bubbles, because you don't really want bubbles in your Jolly Rancher push pop. Okay, so moving on to our last color, you guys, and I saved watermelon for the last one, as it's going to be the first flavor that you taste. So I'm just going to fill up however many I need to just fill up the space for the rest of the push pop. Try to be as even as possible, but if you do have a little bit more on the top, that's obviously not a big deal. So one thing you want to make sure as you're making this push pop, you guys, is that the levels stay nice and even. It's not a big deal if it's not, but it does look better. And you'll have a really nice, even, colorful push pop. Okay, so very carefully pouring your delicious, ooey gooey watermelon Jolly Ranchers. Look how good this looks, you guys. So carefully pouring that on top, knowing that you can eat it within minutes. And obviously being very careful at the end here so it doesn't spill over. I decided to push the limit and put it right towards the top, but you definitely do not have to do that. So there we go. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. So this won't take long at all in the fridge or freezer, as most of it's hardened, right? So we're just waiting for the last leg. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to harden, I'm going to move on to the Jolly Rancher Chews, and I'm super excited about this because I just think these are the best thing ever. So similar to the first push pop, you guys, you're going to obviously pick your colors and take the wrappers off and melt them. Now in this case, because the candy is soft, it doesn't take long at all. So you really want to make sure you keep an eye on it. So I microwaved it for 15 seconds, and that actually pretty much did it. If I needed more time, I just put it in for another 5. For sure, you want to make sure that this stuff doesn't boil up again because it kind of gets stuck on the bowl. And obviously you don't want that. You want it to be a nice little puddle at the bottom of your bowl. Always make sure that you have a stir stick handy so that you can scrape it if necessary, and of course to stir it. So I'm going to start with watermelon, and I'm just gonna get, I'm not really sure how many I used here, but I know that I did skinnier layers. So I'm gonna, instead of doing chunks like I did with the hard candy, I actually did double the layers, so less amount of candy. So I probably only used about 5 or 6 candies here. Okay, so once you're done that, you put it in the fridge or freezer to ensure that it's hard. And then you move on to your next gooey, delicious blue raspberry flavor, or whatever flavor you choose. One thing, you guys, just a reminder to oil up that push pop. And I didn't show the video here on my second one, but like you saw at the very beginning, you want to make sure that you coat that with oil so that it's easier to get out. So again, 6 candies here, and we're gonna melt it in the microwave, and it's gonna be so good. Okay, so done. So this by far was my favorite, you guys. Check out how delicious this looks after you've put it in the fridge or freezer. And layers of delicious Jolly Ranchers chewing candy. So thank you so much for coming to watch this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our super duper push pop Jolly Rancher treats, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you.